Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Cheers. Welcome to the live. We're talking with that darn Rob, the man himself, the brush maker. Just going to keep it casual tonight. We're just going to kind of chat a little bit, talk about his new brush drop, and anything else you guys want to talk about. Hey Philip, good to see you. Nice to see you there, buddy. Duck Fat. Got Tim. Good to see everybody here. Rook Perfumes, good to see you. Glad you joined. What's up, man? Good to see you. Happy Sunday, everybody. And we got a whole group of people showing up. As you can see, I'm not in my normal bathroom setup. I found up. Oh, hey, what's up? Mama Soap is here. It's nice to kind of sit on my ass and sit in my chair here. Dr. Nashir, hey, buddy, what's up, buddy? It's kind of nice to be able to sit in my chair and not stand in my bathroom for however long it is to chat. So I've been kind of changing up a little bit, sitting in here for a while. Hey, here we go. Got some people joining now. Am I having a drink tonight? I don't have a whole lot tonight, but I did finish off my bottle of Gentleman Jack here. Such a cool bottle. I really like this design. Got the rest of it here in my cup. Like I said, we're waiting on Rob, and we'll just talk. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday. For those of you who just joined, you can see I'm in my game room, which normally I'm in my bathroom, but it's so much nicer to be able to sit down and chat. Hey, what's up, Pinsy? Hope I'm saying that right. Pinsy Steam. Mike. I think your name's Mike. Sorry. I talked to so many people. I think you're Mike. Have you tried the Supply Injector Razor? No, I have not. The only injector I have is an actual Schick injector, and it's a custom one. Oh, thanks. It's a custom one from North Shore Razors. There he is. Let's invite him. Yeah, go get your drink, man. Art, what's up, everybody? Scooter? Hey, what's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Oh, I love your digs there, man. I like your setup.
Say what?
I said, I like your setup.
Oh, thanks, man.
Background?
Yeah, I'm just out on the back porch. It's a fairly nice evening here in Central Arkansas.
Very nice. It's been a beautiful day here in St. Louis, too, but I just haven't gone much of anywhere. I've been staying inside, mainly.
Yeah.
So how are you dealing with... How are you dealing with the corona and quarantine and all that?
It really hasn't affected me all that much, to be honest. You know, I work from home, so that's not a big deal for me. And then I don't have just a whole lot of social life, so
I hear you.
It's irritating whenever I actually want to go do something that I can't. And Sundays bother me a good bit because, you know, I'm very involved with my church, and I miss that. But otherwise, it's been awesome. I've got my wife and kids. My wife is a school teacher, local band director. So I've got them at the house all day, and we're getting to hang out and have a good time. So it's been okay for me.
Very nice. Well, we've got quite a crowd so far. So granted, if you don't know who that darn Rob is by now, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But I'd like you to kind of introduce yourself, and kind of for people who don't know much about you, kind of give a little backstory about who you are and what you do.
Okay. I'm a brush maker. That's all I do. I've been making brushes since April of 2016. So right at 4 years. And in October of 2019, I finally left my day job and started doing brushes full time.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Was that scary for you?
What's that?
Was that scary for you?
Terrifying. It was really scary. But I felt like I could make it work, and finally things at work got to the point where I came home one day, said I can't do that anymore. I hate going to that place, and my wife said, well, why don't you quit? And it's like, don't me, you know. We had talked about this as like a pie in the sky dream one day that I'd have my own business. But yeah, finally she was just like, "You're miserable." And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You find another job.
Sure.
That's fine.
Hey,
Let's go for it.
glad you joined. So if you don't mind me asking, what did you used to do before?
I was a web designer for a school district.
Oh, okay. So you were in IT and graphic design with internet, just website building, or just for that particular place?
Just graphic design and web design. I didn't do any like support IT stuff. We're in a here in Central Arkansas. The school districts are very competitive because you can kind of pick your district, and there are a ton of private school options. So the school districts all have graphic designers, and they advertise, and they're aggressively recruiting all the time.
Really? Interesting. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that cutthroat.
It is, and every kid has got a price on their head, and you're and you get funding based on how many kids you have in your district. So when you lose a kid to another district, you're losing money. They're getting money.
Sure.
It's
so.
Weird.
What made you want to start? What made you want to start doing the brush turning to begin with? What got you interested in the hobby? Obviously, I'm assuming you wet shave. Granted, you've got a nice little facial fur going on, but I'm assuming you're into the hobby.
Yes, I had been wet shaving, I don't know, 3 or 4 years before I started making brushes. But I got into it because I had just terrible ingrown hairs all the time. My hair is super coarse. And so, I was using a multi-blade razor, and I was getting those bumps. So I found a Gillette Tech at a pre-war tech at a flea market, and got really into it. Got a little Vanderhagen set from Walmart, and I was off to the races. And a couple of years later, my dad gave me a set for Christmas that he had turned. It was his first set, and he didn't realize that there was a market for it at all.
Sure.
So I had this set sitting on my vanity for a year or two, and got into woodworking. You all right?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead.
But I had gotten into woodworking. I was doing like pallet wood furniture and crap like that, because it was 2016 and everybody was making pallet wood furniture. And started making pens, and I couldn't give pens away. So I just on a lark decided to make some razors, and the razors started selling. And I was posting them on Reddit, and Matthew Marding, brush guy, saw my work and was like, "Hey, you really should be making brushes," and kind of gave me the basics on it and introduced me to all the Facebook groups and Instagram stuff about shaving, and it was just it took off from there.
Very interesting. So now, obviously, I'm assuming, like anybody, your technique and your artistry has evolved over time. So what were you turning? What was the first kind of brushes you were turning? What kind of gear or what kind of machinery were you using? I'm assuming if you're starting off into turning brushes, because you see more and more every day of people trying to turn brushes, I'm assuming the Harbor Freight Special is a good way to start.
That I should have started with a Harbor Freight, but I started with a Shopsmith, which is a tool that kind of like a multi-tool. It does a little bit of everything. It's a table saw, it's a drill press, and it has all these different configurations. And one of them is and it was fine, but there was a lot of flex and a lot of instability in it, and I upgraded a little bit at a time as the hobby kind of grew into a money-making venture. I kind of expanded the shop, and now my 2-car garage is completely full of tools. It's a dedicated workshop. Nobody parks in there. It's, you know, kind of taken over.
It's your full dedicated area. That's cool, though.
Yeah.
So now, how quickly did you realize that you were outgrowing your equipment?
When I started, when I moved from doing like the little stuff like razors into brushes, because when you're working with a brush, you know, one end is unsupported, whereas when you're working with a razor, you're working on a steel rod that runs between two centers. And when I started doing brushes, there was too much wiggle, and it was hard to keep things turning true. So I just started, and when I started using the table saw on the Shopsmith, I saw immediately I'm going to have to upgrade this thing because it was terrifying. You know, the way a Shopsmith works is you've got one motor, and it's got like 2 tubes that run out of it, there are all these attachments that you can put onto it. And whenever you're using the table saw, there's a little platform that you put on top, and you just stick a saw blade on this motor, and it's just spinning right there. It's no good. So I eventually upgraded, you know, and got rid of the Shopsmith, and but that's where I started.
Very cool. So now, what kind of brushes were you turning at first? Did you have any idea what you were doing? Do you have previous like woodworking experience or turning experience at all?
I had a little bit of woodworking experience. My dad had shown me how to turn pens and stuff. But you can buy shaving brush kits from wood turning outlets that have a little metal collar with a threaded end that you screw into a piece of wood, and it's got it's like I want to say it's 18 millimeter hole in the metal collar, and they come with the scrubbiest little Pure Badger brushes you could ever hope to find. They're awful. Anybody who's starting out in brush making, skip that. Don't buy those god-awful kits. They're not worth the $15 you're paying for them. Get yourself a decent knot and just drill a hole in a piece of wood and go from there. You don't need that metal collar. They're junk.
Yeah.
So I got past that pretty quick. And that's in large part to Matthew Marting, who was like, no. He basically told me the same thing that I just said. Those are junk. Stop doing that. And you know, and I've tried to help other brush makers get going. When I see somebody using those, I'm like, hey, there's a better way. Let me just give you some advice.
Well, hey, everyone keeps telling me to read the comments, and everybody's saying you're looking pixelated. You need to get closer to your Wi-Fi router.
Me?
Yeah, and then they're all giving you shit about a Mammoth T-shirt.
I know. It's terrible. I found it at Goodwill.
Oh, now you're frozen.
Let's see. I will see if I can get any closer.
And then people are accusing me of pixelating all my guests.
All right. Let's see. If I go inside, we're going to be listening to Paw Patrol.
Nothing wrong with Paw Patrol. Mammoth said Rob is in an Atari game. And you're using AOL.
Hold on. Let's see. Bear with me a second, guys. I'll try and fix that.
It's getting a little better.
The problem is I've got a wife and kid who are both streaming inside.
Not enough bandwidth.
Let me see.
You look better already. Oh, now you're spinning. Oh. Yep, we're using the 56K dial-up, everybody. He is cleaning up a bit, but now it's starting to freeze. God, internet's a wonderful thing, isn't it? we'll give him a minute here, see if he can kind of get that fixed. Oh, there, oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh, is that any better?
Yes, you're working now.
All right. Let's see. Bear with me. I'm going to go grab the the board.
Oh, yeah.
And get it over closer.
I saw you building that, or I saw you built that thing today. That's awesome. And that's for you to transfer your brushes around, correct?
Yeah. I had been just carrying them in shoe boxes, so they get all out of order. And when it comes time to put numbers on them and stuff, it's a pain in the butt to kind of remember.
I bet.
I did which one.
So we're going to, obviously, I want to keep this pretty tonight.
Cullen. I appreciate that, buddy.
See, now you can read the comments and see what's going on.
Yeah.
But I wanted to keep this kind of chill tonight. I wanted to give you the opportunity to show off all the amazing brushes you have coming for this drop. But kind of going back to, before we get to that, and where you started with brush making, what have you noticed as far as, or what have you done to kind of set yourself apart from the rest of the people in the brush making industry? Because as far as I'm concerned, I can look at a brush from anybody's shave of the day and immediately know it's one of yours. Like there's something about it that I can. Like, that's definitely a TDR brush. So I'm curious what you have done to kind of set yourself apart and what kind of things you're doing to make your brushes unique.
I don't know. It's lately I've been doing a lot of like little metal inlays and stuff, but I think the difference maker for me is proportion. Like I don't have a signature shape. I do dozens of shapes, and every blank, I just, as I work with it, I decide what that one is going to be. But for me, it's how shape and size relate to one another and getting that proportion just right. I do short, fat brushes. I do tall, skinny brushes. And I don't want to speak negatively about anybody's work, but some brushes I see and I'm wondering, that seems a little unwieldy. That seems a little chunky, or,
Well, it's all about ergonomics. I agree. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of newer artists don't. Granted, I'm just speaking off the top of my head, but for a lot of newer brush makers, it just seems like for the most part, they don't really know what works. So they turn something that they think looks good, but necessarily maybe too stumpy, doesn't have a good grip, and just overall, it just doesn't work. I mean, it may be a brush, but there's something about, a brush kind of is, granted, I've got one in my hand right now, but there's something about a brush that has to kind of fit good and feel good in the hand. And I think people kind of discover their own technique and style over time. So you don't have any kind of direction when you're going to turn the brushes?
I mean, I can look at a blank and, judging by the height of the blank, I have an idea of what kind of lines I'm going to go with. If it's a really tall.
Sorry, I'm reading the
comments. And another thing is, and this is something that graphic designers kind of struggle with too. When you're fresh out of design school and you've got, your computer and you've got Photoshop and Illustrator and everything's loaded up, and you just want to throw everything you've got at every project. And so like my early work and a lot of newer turners, their work is like, I'm going to put beads and coves and grooves all over this thing. I've got the technical ability to do this, so I'm just going to throw the kitchen sink at this blank. And you end up with something that's just really busy, and it's like, dial it back a little bit. A little bit of subtlety goes a long way.
Definitely.
Hey, Ben, I didn't realize Ben was on here. The endorsement check, that's in the mail, right?
Yeah, for supporting that, the little subtle advertisement on the shirt.
Right, right.
Well, it's funny. I don't know how much you can see. I'm wearing an Illinois shirt, but I'm wearing a Missouri hat. So I'm having some identity crisis right now. So when it comes to all your brushes, are you hand pouring all of them as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
When it comes to like your acrylic and stuff?
Yeah. Every now and then I'll pour some, or I'll turn some off-the-shelf resins. You know, like the stuff that Paladin does, you know, with the haze and all that, the synthetic jade and things like that. I've got a little bit of that stuff still hanging around the shop, but for the most part, I'm pouring all of my own resin. I'm stabilizing my own wood. When I make a hybrid, I'm doing everything from drying the wood to stabilizing it, casting it with resin. It's all done in-house.
So when you're doing like the resins and stuff, I'm assuming you have to use like a vacuum chamber to remove air and bubbles and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm. The resin I primarily use is polyester resin called Silmar 41.
Okay.
You don't really have to use a vacuum chamber for that, but I do because the guy who kind of showed me the ropes also used a vacuum chamber on it. So what I do is I pour my resin, I mix in the color, I pour in the catalyst, mix it up real good, put it in the vacuum chamber for a little bit, and it's sucking out the bubbles while I get my molds ready. And then by the time I've got my molds ready, the resin has started to thicken and get to like a gel state.
Okay.
Pour all the resin and then put it back in the vacuum chamber without applying vacuum. Okay. I put it back in there. I had a question about that. Actually, Philip had asked me about that earlier today, and I hadn't gotten back with him. Once I put it back in the vacuum chamber, that's just to retain heat to help with the curing. I don't turn the pump back on. And the other resin that I use, Alumalite, that's for use in hybrids like this. This stuff sets up in like 7 minutes from liquid to solid in roughly 7 minutes. So you don't have time to use a vacuum chamber. You mix that stuff up, you pour it, and then I put it in a pressure chamber, and I run like 80 pounds of pressure, 80 pounds per square inch of pressure to crush the bubbles and squeeze it out of the resin.
Very nice. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Well, I want you to kind of give a chance to show off your brushes, but you're looking a little pixelated again. Do you want to maybe switch to your actual cell service? See if that maybe helps.
I can try it.
If not, if you get disconnected, I can re-invite you. It's no deal. But I want to build those brushes.
Sadly, I am on my cell service right now. So this is, I'm afraid this is as good as it gets unless I can convince the people inside to stop streaming Paw Patrol for just a minute. Hold on.
Okay.
Hey.
You play a Strat 2, huh, Ben? Yeah, that's my American-made Highway 1 Strat. Bought it in like 2007. It's a made in America. I put some custom pickups in it. It's got a satin nitro finish, so it's kind of like a translucent layer. You can see the wood grain behind it. I put the pearlescent pick guard on, and it's just got a beautiful tone. It's got the 70s headstock on it. Very nice.
All right. We have ceased the streaming. So we'll see if that improves things a little bit.
Awesome. Well, show us what you got. What do you have coming up for this next drop? And when is this drop coming?
This is coming Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central.
Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central. Awesome.
You want to see all of these things?
Yeah, let's show them off. Why not? We still have half an hour.
Okay. I mean, there are 50 of these, 51 brushes for this week's drop. It's the biggest drop I've ever done.
Show off the ones you want to show off, then. I'll leave it up to you.
And
yes, JR, this is Ren and Stimpy in the background. Good eye. I have Ren and Stimpy figures sitting up here on top of my arcade cabinet. Oh, you're spinning a little bit here. We're going to wait and see if you can come back on here. Oh, maybe the Wi-Fi wasn't a good idea. Got you frozen in time again. I'll give him a minute to kind of figure out what's going on. Oh, wait, maybe not. I hear you, but oh, there you're moving. You're moving. Yes, you're back. Okay. Gotta hate the internet sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. I saw a comment from John. No, the beer brushes are not retired. I just haven't done any in a while because they're a pain in the butt. That's a really difficult pour to time correctly. So I need to get off my butt, quit being lazy, and just make some. But anyway, for Tuesday, I'll just hit a couple of the high points. Some of these I've already posted on Instagram, but I always do a couple of brushes with metal flake inside. So there are a couple of those. I've got some like obscenely bright neon handles. With
so how do you get that line in the middle like that?
That is actually what I do is I pour my white cap and I set it aside. I pour the blue and green section here, and then I put it on the lathe. I cut it. I flush up all the surfaces to make sure everything is perfectly flat. And then I've got some plastic materials that I use, some styrene sheets and ABS plastic, and I just glue in layers and then clamp it all up. And it's just a process. You know, it's the same process I use for my for the metal inlaid handles, which because of the ring light, you're not going to be able to see the brass in there. But
Scented Soldier asked if you have any knots yet.
No, that has been such a fiasco. You know, I ordered these knots, nearly 2 months ago.
Really?
Of course, factories were shut down in China. Then whenever the factory opened back up, they were having a hard time getting materials. So last week, they contacted me and said, okay, bad news. We can't get the normal hair supply that we use on your knots. We found another supplier. They're sending hair, and we'll send you samples later. And the day they got the samples done, they contacted me and said, great news. The hair for your order has arrived. It's the normal hair that we always use for you. So we don't have to worry about these samples. We're gonna get you, you know, your normal order. And I was really excited. And they were like, we're gonna work on them for 2 days, and then there's a 5-day holiday.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's Golden Week in China. So they took the week off, and they said that I should have them in a week or two. So we'll see. I'm sorry for everybody who's been waiting, but yeah, this COVID-19 has got everybody kind of on their heels.
Sure.
And, you know, shipping from China is one thing, but an animal product is something altogether different. So I'm just waiting.
Okay. Well, I know, but by default, you sell your handles without a knot, correct?
That's right. That's right. I sell handle only, and then I offer my 26 millimeter Venturion. I'm on batch 6 now of that particular knot. I used to offer like 10 different knot options. That got a little cumbersome, and it just didn't make any sense because the other knot options didn't sell as well, and I didn't like them nearly as much as I like the Fanturion. I want to offer the best knot to go in these handles that I possibly can. And I think for the money, my 26 millimeter Fanturion is a legit contender. So I discontinued all of those other options and simplified my life immensely. It's either a knot or a handle. So now, that being said, if you see one of my handles and you want a synthetic knot, we can work that out. All you got to do is go to Maggard or West Coast, Whip Dog, whatever, buy your knot and ship it directly to me. I will stick it in the handle and you don't have to worry about a thing.
Oh, very nice.
But I just don't stock them myself.
Okay. So you typically just deal with badger hair yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're looking pixelated again on my end, guys. How is he looking? I want him to show off a few more brushes. So obviously we can't see him if he's running at, 360p. So if even that, maybe 180p. But let me know in the comments below if he looks all right, because that's a beautiful brush. I see a cream color and a blue.
Yeah. This one's that's one that you actually had reposted the other day.
Oh yeah.
And there's
everybody's saying you're in 8-bit mode. You're super pixelated again.
Gosh, man, I'm so sorry, guys.
It's all right. It's no fault. It's the wonders of the internet. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm the only one on the internet right now. It's just our service out here is not great.
It's all right, no problem. We can try doing your actual data from your phone again. Maybe we'll try something. We won't keep this going too much longer, but I want you to be able to show off some of these brushes before we have any major issues. I'll give it a chance for it to switch back over, and we'll see what happens here, guys. Sorry about this, but, things happen. Internet's unpredictable sometimes. We'll give him a minute here, and if that doesn't work, I'll disconnect, and we'll try and get him back on again as well. Like I said, I want to give him an opportunity to show off. Oh, you're clearing up a little bit. A little bit.
All right. Okay.
Go ahead and show off what you got.
Okay. Got this one. It's like a charcoal gray with white and black inlays. See, this is one that I enjoyed quite a bit.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. It's, well, with it being lit from the front, you can't see, but it's translucent blue and purple.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. I love this one. Actually, if you've seen the hybrid that Sarasota, Mikey, picked up last week, it's Blurple. It's really bright blue and purple. It's the same pour, just solid resin.
Hey, Frank, glad you could join.
Let's see. Got this beautiful maple hybrid with blues in there. This one I live turned on Instagram. It is a Madrone burl.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It really is. This one took a solid 2 hours of fiddling with. It was a nightmare because it's full of little holes and cracks that all had to be filled.
Oh yeah.
And that was a mess. A couple other Madrone hybrids. These are blue. These are blue with I don't know if you can tell, but it's got some aluminum shavings in there.
Yeah, I see some flake. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to those maple burls or just the wood in general, do you have to do anything particular to those to seal those to keep them from getting water damage?
I do. Yeah, I stabilize them, which impregnates them with resin, which helps tremendously. And then I've got a mixture that I put on most of them. This one has actually got a CA finish. It's super glue. And you just build up layer after layer of super glue, and it makes a really hard, durable, waterproof coating on the brush. But on like this one, this is Burmese rosewood.
Okay.
with a brass inlay. This one does not have that CA finish. It's got a mixture of a couple of products that I'd rather not disclose that I put on there, and it makes a really nice satin finish.
Okay.
That's very very waterproof, very durable. In fact, I had the good fortune of getting one of those handles, like one of the first ones that I used that finish on. Came back to like 6 months later for a reknot, and after I polished it, it looked brand new. After 6 months of use, it was a bloodwood handle that I sold to some schmuck up in New York, makes some soap, and so after seeing that, I was like, well, this stuff is working, and that's my preferred method. Like, it's on this one.
Okay. Now, is that based on the type of wood or just the appearance and finish you're looking for?
It's based on the appearance that I want.
Okay.
Most of the time, I prefer wood to feel like wood, and have some grain, some texture to it, and that my normal finish gives you that. Whereas this, I mean, it looks amazing with that high gloss finish, but it feels like plastic. I mean, it doesn't feel like wood at all, which is fine, but I prefer, the tactile quality of wood.
The texture, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I say that I've done more CA finishes this week than I have in probably a year and a half, 2 years. Here's another. This one is walnut harvested right here in Saline County, Arkansas, with a CA finish on it.
Hector said, I can safely and confidently say that Rob's hybrids are definitely waterproof and beautiful.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I have one of your matte finished wood hybrid handles.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that it's treating you well. Let's see. A couple other highlights. I love this little retro-inspired guy.
Oh, that's so nice.
Butterscotch, these 3 beads up at the top. I don't know. It's that shape has been a big win for me lately.
Really?
Yeah, there's something about it that feels really old school, without actually being a copy of any of the old school designs.
Sure.
My old man just jumped on. What's up, Pop? Let's see. Here's another one that's okay. This one's a little weird. I'm just going to set this up. This, whenever I went to turn this one round and knock the square edges off of the metal inlay, a huge chunk of the wood came out, and when I had to keep turning, and it got smaller and smaller, and it's a little bitty thing now. It's got kind of a wider head on it, and then this kind of smaller waist. But it works really nicely in the hand. So
yeah,
it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but somebody's going to like it.
Absolutely.
And that's, so again, that's Makoti.
For people who joined, you said your drop is on Tuesday at what time?
Tuesday at 5 p.m.
Awesome. Show us a few more, and then I think we'll call it because the internet just does not seem to like us tonight.
Sorry, man.
It's all right.
Let's see. It's some beautiful ambrosia maple. Let's see. There we go.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Man, I like the colors in that.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. It's got a brass inlay and a matte black top. Let's see. A couple more. This one that I posted last night. It's a Buckeye Hybrid.
Now, what are your favorite materials to work with?
Um, I love turning wood. I mean, resin sells well. I love working with resin, but there's something about taking a piece of wood and just look at the shimmer in that piece of myrtle. This was very unimpressive wood when I was just holding it in my hand, but once I turned it and it reveals all that goodness within, that's tough to beat.
Amazing how it transforms. Hector said, does your CA Finish Hybrid feel slick or slippery because it's more plasticky?
I mean, it's going to be more slick than my satin finish, but it's not going to be any more slick than solid resin.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite and my best-selling color combo. Pueblo is what I call this. It's a Lucent Teal with copper. I've made probably 150 of these at this point in different shapes. And that's been a big seller for me. A couple other little oddballs. I got this little guy, black and copper.
Now, how often do you have a drop? Do you have scheduled times for drops? Like, do you try and have some out every week, every month? How does that work?
I think I've decided I'm going to stick with every 2 weeks. During the month of March, I did every week, and the pace was pretty tough to keep up with. Just the pressure to get 20 brushes, 25 brushes every week was not worth it. So every 2 weeks kind of lets me make a bigger batch of blanks at the beginning of the week so I can take my time turning. And, you know, I end up doing the same amount of brushes, but the pace is a little more manageable.
Sure, absolutely. Well, Rob, it's been great having you on. I apologize for having internet issues tonight, but that's the nature of the beast. I'd love to have you on again if you'd be down maybe in the next month or so. We can try and revisit this again maybe when you have another drop, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. I appreciate coming on.
I appreciate the chance to talk to you.
It's my pleasure. Is there anything else you want to talk about tonight before we get off?
Not really. I don't guess so.
Well, have a great Sunday, Rob. I appreciate it as usual, guys. Thanks. Make sure you check out his page, his Instagram, his Facebook. He's always turning live brushes as well. He's going to have a fantastic drop with about 50 brushes coming up this Tuesday. So if you're interested, I highly recommend checking out his brushes. I will be hunting his website on Tuesday as well. So, Rob, thank you again. It's been a pleasure, and let's do this again sometime.
All right. Oh, I just saw a question there. Somebody was asking about custom work. No. I'm sorry. I don't do custom work. I used to, but it got to be a real hassle keeping up with what everybody wanted and trying to kind of figure out what they have in mind. And I prefer to just turn what I like, and if you like it, buy it. That said, I'm always taking suggestions. So if you've got an idea of something that you'd like to see, holler at me. I'll try and work it into a drop, but that's how it works.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Rob. I appreciate it, and let's try this again sometime.
All right. Well, thank you very much, man. You have a good evening.
You too. Thanks. See you, buddy. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We had some internet issues tonight, but I think we made it through okay. I appreciate you watching as always. Love you all. Have a good evening.